Happy Friday, Bills Mafia. Welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Forecast. Today, we have the usual suspects. The regulator of the riffraff, Herm, how you doing?
I'm regulating. Hey, I'm doing fine. Go Bills.
Go Bill. I don't think we got riffraff this week, but we'll keep you
No.
on standby for that. Mr. Evan Zinger, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm sort of glad that something came up last week for me. That way I didn't need to sit around here and talk about that Jags game, but we bounced back good, so let's go. Let's talk about it. I'm happy.
Yeah,
You missed a good one there.
Well, it was a good show. It was just
It was a good show.
I think we got it all off our chest, and here we are. Speaking of last week, we were fresh off that big victory. But before we get into it, I would like everyone to like, subscribe, share. Gently press that subscribe, the bell, gently. No slamming, no smashing. Just, everyone likes to smash the subscribe button. We don't do that here. For the uninitiated, at the Friday Night Forecast, we break down the upcoming matchup. We give you our takes and predictions. But it's not just about us. We'd like to get yours. So drop it in the comments, and you'll get your shot to be read on air later on in the show. If you can't catch us live, just find us on every podcast feed, the Cold Front Report. But again, speaking of last week, we had a shakeup in personnel. Formations were a little bit different. We had some play calling that we haven't seen very much this year. Herm, what is something that stood out to you regarding specifically the offense? Because obviously the defense was pretty much on key. But the offense, what stood out to you that was different that proved to be effective?
Well, some of the packages that I think you and I communicated real early in the game, but some of the packages that we were using and running. Throwing the ball out of, which was, I think, it gave us a different look, first of all, and the play calling in terms of just it wasn't as predictable as it's been, in my opinion, which I think was a complaint of mine and of a lot of the fan base. But I think, just the packages that we were using and which were creative, and the plays that we were running out of those packages that we hadn't been doing in, I think, maybe most of the season early so far. So that was one of the things I noted.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious. Evan, is there anything that stuck out to you?
Really the only thing that stuck out to me was the fact that I remember watching like the first quarter and a half or so. And I remember being really nervous, actually, because even though I thought at the time the Bills would win the game, it was like, okay, they struggled to score points in the Jacksonville game, obviously, and they've only scored 10 points so far. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm just like so used to this offense putting up points so quickly that it's like, wait, they're on pace to put up like 30 points still. But even then, like the fact that they were able to like score very quickly on each drive again, like I think I saw somewhere that the touchdown drives were like three of them were in like 5 plays. So you always love seeing stuff like that, those sort of chunk plays. Allen in particular hit a lot of like those sort of wow throws that you like to see from him. There's never a lot to break down when you're talking about any games against the Jets, unfortunately. But there's an element to that I do like because it means not having to stress out a lot about it.
Yeah. You always look forward to a couple games where you can just sit back and kick your feet up. You're not pacing. You're not changing your position on the couch.
Granted, we did think that against the Jags. So
yeah. Well,
sometimes
it's very true.
We sure did.
The personnel, which you touched on, Herm, was big for me. I thought we saw a lot more 22 personnel, and we did a lot of play action out of it. But aside from the actual formations, I thought the involvement of Stephon Diggs was huge. Herm, do you think that it was a concerted effort to get him in, or do you think it was just the coverage? Because they decided, after one of their starting corners got injured, they just left him out there on an island, and we just kept going. So do you think it was in the game plan, or it was just specific to what they saw?
Well, I think there was a conscious effort to get him more targets first and foremost, because during the week, reading a lot of things in the Buffalo media, and he wasn't complaining, and he says his targets are definitely down on average from last year. But also, he made the comment that because of the year the two of them shared last year, him and Josh, that he would be the focus of most defensive game planning in terms of the passing game. So Sanders had picked up some of that. Beasley had a big game, a couple of games in front of that with 10, 11 catches, whatever it was. So I think it was a conscious effort, and Josh was looking for him, and the opportunities availed themselves. So the timing was great. And it was good to see him break out. I think he had 169 yards, if something like that, if I'm off the top of my head correctly.
He had a career high with the Bills.
Yeah. So no, it was good to see in the two of them, because they were, that was the pairing last year that was really one of the most outstanding QB receiver tandems in the league.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Evan, do you have anything to add to that? And do you foresee the Bills kind of not necessarily forcing the ball to Stephon Diggs more often, but when he is in that single coverage, do you think we're going to see Josh Allen go to him more frequently?
I don't think it was necessarily a concerted effort to go to Diggs. It was just like was mentioned, they had Javelin Guidry on him one-on-one for a solid amount of the game, and I don't know what Saleh was thinking doing that exactly. But when you get that matchup, you kind of just go, all right, screw it. Diggs down there somewhere. I'm just going to throw it. And then good things happen. So,
Oh, it's incomplete pass. Okay, we're going to do it again.
Yeah, that's right. I like that. Went right back at him, right? Same play.
Yeah, I know the fade is, everyone likes to see it. It's not a very effective
Hit or miss
down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to see. It was just like, listen, we're gonna take this touchdown from you. Speaking of touchdowns, thoughts on Breida? And you got 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 on the ground. That terrible fumble, which it didn't hurt us. Obviously, he even recovered it, but it doesn't look good, and especially dealing with Sean McDermott, it's not always the best thing to do to help your stock. But Herm, first of all, do you think Breida is going to be active this week? And if he is, are we going to see his role increase going forward?
Yeah, I would hope he's active, because I think it'd be a mistake. He looked good. The speed, he adds another element. He made plays. As you said, the fumble doesn't do good in the sense of trying to reinforce the fact that you should be on the field more, but he was effective. And with Moss, Moss coming off the concussion, so I think they wanted to limit his his time on the field, or he really didn't carry the ball that much. But I like him. I think he's an asset. We got him at the beginning of the year, and in the preseason, there were a couple games where he looked pretty good, and then he just kind of disappeared. But I'd like to see him active. I'd like to see him active this weekend. Use him a little bit more. I mean, one thing about it, he's he adds some speed out of the backfield, and he caught the ball and he ran the ball. So, I hope he's active.
Yeah, his speed really allows us to utilize more of that outside zone scheme, and it with Moss and Singletary, I feel like the defense kind of knows where the ball is going to go.
That's right.
In the run game. Evan, do you have any other thoughts regarding Breida and his role going forward?
Limited. That's the only word I can really use. Everyone's always calling for them to establish their own game and all that. But the thing is that the Bills are just way more effective passing the ball, and their running backs as a whole just aren't great in the passing game, regardless of the fact that Breida caught a touchdown last week. Even that was on somewhat of a broken play, or it took like ages. It was it took very, very long to develop, and it was pretty clear that Breida was not like, the main target on that. But either way, will he be active? Probably. Do I think he should be? I'm going to say no, actually, simply because I think that you're much better off just taking, because he's next to useless when it comes to pass blocking. And when you have, guys like Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner on the other side, and then you basically only have 4 offensive linemen that can do anything, then you're going to need any body in there that you can get, and Breida might as well be just no one. Granted, I probably would start Breida at right guard over Cody Ford, but at least with Breida, you might have one of the defensive tackles go like, they're serious about this, and then it'll like cause them to like do it like a quick double take, and that will cause the delay. So
for one play, it'll work.
Yep, one play it'll work. And the Bills will win 7-0. So
follow-up question. If Breida wasn't active, who would you have take their place? Would it be Kumaro again, or is there anyone that you would see active outside of Breida?
Probably, I'm going to say probably Kumaro, just for special teams. Like, yeah. I do feel like there's just, if there's not going to be a huge role for that extra player that's active, then just get yourself a better special teams player. That's all.
Fair enough. Before we get into the current week, let's just talk about this defense, Herm. You've seen a lot of good Bills defense. We've seen teams that take away the football. We've seen teams that get pressure on the quarterback. But is this the best defense you've seen to date from the Buffalo Bills?
There was a stretch when I think Ted Cottrell was the coordinator, and we had a top 5 defense for about 2 out of. That was a good defense. This defense here is opportunistic. It's almost like an amoeba type, because sometimes it seems like we give up more yards than I would like to, or it's almost that bend don't break. But then we lead the league in takeaways. So that's what, in terms of the opportunism, I like the way we're playing right now. I mean, outside of the Tennessee game, and even then we played pretty well. We gave up points on, I think, 4 consecutive drives in a row, if I remember, in that game.
Yeah, the first half was good. The second half, not
exactly.
So much.
But outside of that, our defense has just been outstanding. I feel. We talked about it earlier, talking about the Patriots defense, but who they've played. But I think our defense has been as good as any defense in the league overall. And statistically, I think that kind of confirms that fact. But in the Bills parlance, historically, it's definitely one of the way we've played so far. We're 9 games in. It's one of the, and they've saved us in a number of games on mistakes, or they bailed us out. Even the game we lost 9-6, they gave up 3 field goals. But
yeah, you can't ask for much more than that.
No. If you give up 9 points, you should win the game
every time.
So exactly. So and even the Pittsburgh game, what did we give? 16, and one of them was a block punt. So they really only gave up 9 in that game.
Well, no, we gave up 23 but yeah. 16 is what the defense
and a
did.
short field on one of those touchdowns they got. Yeah. But the bottom line, no, our defense has been playing outstanding, and I'm looking forward to see. We got a test Sunday, so this is I want to see how we perform, and I think we'll pass this test. I'm looking forward to it.
So Evan, you and myself are more on the younger side, but we have seen some good Bills defense. First question, is this the best defense you've seen? And regardless of your answer, what makes them so good?
I'm going to say it's the best defense I've seen from the Bills since 2004. The years of
Takeo Spikes,
London Fletcher, Nick Clements, Aaron Schobel.
Yeah.
I think 2004 was that the year they had Vincent and Malloy as well. I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was an insane defense. But the only reason I'd be hesitant to put this current defense over that defense is because of the quality of quarterbacks they played so far. Like I get, you play who you play, but it is just a simple fact that they haven't played a ton of good quarterbacks so far. And until they do, it's just we just got to wait and see. Do I think that they will be able to handle those quarterbacks? Absolutely, but just not any solid evidence yet. As for what makes the defense so good, you can just look back to the parallels of the 2004 defense. Like you need to have like those good players at each of those position groups. With by terms of Schobel, maybe not same sack number wise, but certainly pressure wise. You got Hughes with Clements. You got Tre'Davious White with the safeties. Vincent Malloy, you got Poyer and Hyde. With the linebackers, you got Milano and just Milano. So yeah, that's just solid all around. That's all.
Yeah, I think that specific year has more talent, but I think the way this team plays together, like the way they as a unit, how they play, and then also the depth behind them where guys go down and you don't really see much of a difference. So
right.
That's key to me is when, your nickel who's been playing out, Taron Johnson, been playing out of his mind, he goes down. We got two separate guys in Saran Neal who showed up in one game, and was he all pro? No, but he played well enough. He wasn't a liability. And then right. And then the couple of weeks when what's his name had an injury, Cam Lewis came in and he played great. So it's when these guys can step up and step in, it's great to see.
I'm glad we're not nothing personal against the guy, but I'm sort of glad we're not throwing in the name of Dane Jackson anymore. I even remember the Jacksonville game. It was like he had to come in for I think two plays. I think. Yeah, we went right at him. They caught it once, and then the second time I think was a deep ball that's I think it was Agnew that dropped it.
Yes,
that would have been a touchdown.
Yeah. You're right. So a little transition piece because this will get us into the injuries. Spencer Brown. It's kind of weird where when he's active, everyone has all the confidence in the world. And now that he is on the COVID reserve list, I see some people out there not even giving us a chance. Now, I get it. We didn't look great when he was out of the lineup, and we did see some shuffling around. Herm, what do you think the course of action is for this Buffalo Bills offensive line? Are they going to repeat what they did in Jacksonville, where Ford goes to Ford was the left guard because we were down 2, but it would be Williams in the guard, and then Williams out to tackle, Ford in the guard.
Right.
Do we do the same thing or do we do something different?
Reading this morning and from a few different sources, but all Bills related and in reference to what you're saying. Okay, the sky is falling because he missed the Jacksonville game, and we saw with their line the pressure they put on, and our running game. What we ran for 22 yards, I think our running backs in total, and we had just horrible offensive line play. So that seems to be I'm not going to say half, but a lot of people, the mindset. I think this time, they'll play better just by the fact that you couldn't really play much worse than you did in that Jacksonville game. And also, that should have been a wake-up call that Cody Ford, you got to come out here, second-round draft pick, and you're turning into a bust. If I want to say turning into, right? You see, I went back there, Evan, and said, yeah. I mean, but you got to play. And moving Williams out, Williams, because I think they are going to move him outside to the tackle, and Ford's got to come in and play. So we won't have.
So you think we're going to stick with that same lineup?
Yeah, I mean, you can juggle it around, which we've done a couple of times this season, and to me, it's been ineffective. Obviously, our run game is horrible. Relatively speaking to the rest of the league, and but pass blocking, as Evan said earlier, we're a passing team, so that's pass protection is paramount for us, which we didn't get in the Jacksonville game, which hurt us, obviously, and the Pittsburgh game, but they had a great line. So I think they're going to move the pieces around, but they have to perform. It's time to step up.
So I think I will get to you, Evan, but I think the Cody Ford experiment is over. And I also think what is going to be less likely is the shuffling of the deck, where one guy gets injured and three people move. I think that proved itself in the Jacksonville game in spades, because yes, did they get outperformed? But what was more alarming was there were a lot of times people were blocking the same guys and people were just coming free. So I think when you move guys from position to position, you're automatically going to lose that continuity. So, if it was up to me and if I was a betting man, I think we're going to keep Williams at guard, and then you're going to see either Doyle or Bates at right tackle. I mean, I'm not in the practice, so I don't know who's better, but we did see they had no problem putting Doyle in at left tackle and then run a 5-step drop, which was not a good idea. But
yeah, he gave up a sack in his only rep. So
yeah,
you're kind of
it was a bad it was a bad choice of play calling on 3rd and 11 to hang him out to dry there. But I think they're going to try to not have Cody Ford on the field. I think he's done. And 2, I think they're going to try to have a little bit more continuity. I think they really like Williams at guard. And I mean, obviously in a case of emergency, he can go out there, but as we saw, he didn't fare well in that Jacksonville game. Evan, what is your scenario?
God forbid I don't know if you have this written down in the notes anywhere for our show, but they picked up Bobby Hart again, and if they
no, he was a late addition.
Yeah, if they freaking play him, oh my goodness, my head's gonna explode. I think it was I can't remember what he posted a meme like in reference to like what the quote was of the meme, but Bruce Nolan compared to Thanos, and I replied somewhere along the lines of, yeah, he's like Thanos in the sense that one snap happens and it's just a complete disaster. So yeah, as long as I'm not playing Bobby Hart, my mind will be at least somewhat at ease, but somewhat isn't enough. I'd like it to be completely at ease. I really hope they get Bates in there finally, because it's been 3 years, I think, and it's been like, oh, Bates is just this developmental piece they're keeping, and it's going to be like the year is 2030. Bates is still tutored as a developmental piece, and he has never started a game.
He's still break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah, you can't say you're developing him and then just refuse to play him. So
a 12-year veteran.
My theory with Bates is that they really just moved him to center. And they're just like, yeah, great. You can play every position, but you're the backup center. And God forbid if, Morse ever goes down, we would find out. But that's just my theory on that. But like you said, if he is as good and as versatile as they say he is, why not play him?
Imagine a line of friggin' Dawkins is the only solid one here. But then you have Ike Bucker, who's at left guard. And then you have backup center Ryan Bates at center, and then you have Williams, who is he's been good this year, but he still is playing out of position at right guard, and then you have Bobby Hart at right tackle. Fire
Moving
right
on.
there.
Yeah. All right, so let's check the weather for this game. I haven't. Sure, it'll be a little chilly, but
The sky is blue.
The sky is blue at 1 o'clock. All right, so for Orchard Park on Sunday, it's going to rain. 49 degrees, 68% chance of rain. Looks like Buffalo's also getting a little snow on Monday. So that clearly is not the best news going against who we're just about to get into, Mr. Jonathan Taylor. Weather can always change, but again, another nick against the Bills. But speaking of the Colts, Herm, what do you think of this resurgence after a slow start? I mean, they're winners of 4 in a row. Start off 1-4. Obviously, their strength is running the ball, but you look at Carson Wentz's numbers; they're good. He's not turning the ball over. I mean, he's got 3 interceptions. So I feel like once he got healthy, he really has been showing a little bit more promise. What do you think outside of Jonathan Taylor makes this offense click? And what attributed to them bouncing back from that slow start?
Their offensive line. Their offensive line, I think, is considered or one of the top 5 in the league. You got a bunch of high draft picks who play well. I mean, they're great run blockers, obviously, but they've been giving him time. So, like you said, he's only thrown 3 interceptions, so he's showing more discipline. I mean, one of the interceptions was horrible, if I remember that one.
Yeah, that one in the end zone,
left-handed out of the end zone, right? So that was just some horrible decision making. But if their line is what makes them go, because Jonathan Taylor, when he's gone over 100 yards, they've won, and when he didn't, they lost, and they're 5-5. So, but the line makes them go, and they're giving Wentz. He's gotten more time too to make decisions. I mean, in the past game. So I think the resurgence is that. I don't know why they got off to a slow start, because you remember they were predicted to be them in Tennessee to be the challengers.
Yeah, a lot of people
in that division. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and even in our playoff game last year, that was a close game. They played us well, and you replaced Phillip Rivers with Wentz, which at the time, Wentz coming out of Philadelphia, where Philly didn't have much talent, so you're. All right, we didn't know how that was going to go. Was he going to? Because Phillip Rivers he still threw the ball pretty well, but Wentz right now is getting more time. I read an article today where he said it's just night and day over the protection he's getting right now with the Colts as opposed to what he got with Philadelphia last year. So he can be a little bit, he can be a little bit more patient, and you got the run game. But that's just a combination. I mean, their line are good run blockers, obviously, but they're also good pass blockers. So. It's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, Evan, what do you think is attributed to their success as of late?
Like solely the running game, basically, and their timely defense. I'll say, it's not Carson Wentz. I will say that much. It's mainly the fact that Jonathan Taylor. They have a good run blocking O-line to begin with, but then Taylor himself can do a lot after contact as well. Mm-hmm. He has the ability to, be consistent and also have those huge runs, which I think that the Bills are generally less prone to giving up big plays in the run or in the pass. But, it's not impossible. That is evidenced by the big run that Derrick Henry had earlier in the year, even though that is Derrick Henry. But, you could say the same thing about Jonathan Taylor. It is Jonathan Taylor. He's getting to be that level of running back. And for what it's worth, there's only 2 teams in the league that have actually generated positive EPA on runs this year, which goes to show you how stupid running the ball in general is. Okay, I'm exaggerating a bit much, but just the Colts and the Browns, and that's it. Not even the Titans.
Well, yeah, I feel like with the Titans, there's a lot of 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, to your point about Carson Wentz and taking care of the ball. He's been getting very lucky in recent games. I will say that much. And it's I took a look. It's not like it's a one game that he had terrible. It's not like he was terrible one game and it pumped up his like collective stats or anything. But I know a lot of people don't like this stat because you believe it's made up or whatever. But in the last 4 weeks that Wentz has played, he's thrown 2 interceptions, but he has 9 turnover-worthy plays. So that's and the only player in the league that has.
What about his big time throws?
4. He's got 4. Just 4. Yeah. Big time throws are way more subjective.
I just think the names are so stupid. That's
big time throw is really dumb. Turnover-worthy play is fine because that's straightforward. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Regardless, the only player who has the same amount of turnover-worthy plays over that period is Mike White, and so that's rough. And Mike White has 8 interceptions, so you can see how much turnovers sort of fluctuate in that regard. But considering how opportunistic the Bills are, I think they'll be able to take advantage of Wentz whenever he makes one of these inopportune throws. And yeah, I think that's what the goal is going to be.
So sticking with Wentz, he's actually very good when you blitz him. Surprisingly, he's not good under pressure, but he's good at completing passes when he's blitzed. I think his passer rating was like 107. But that being said, Herm, do you think that we play more base defense and force Wentz to beat us, or do you see us sticking in the nickel, which we predominantly saw? I think we went to 4-3 a couple times in the Tennessee game early on, but do you think we'll, if Tremaine Edmonds is healthy, do you think we'll see a little bit of that?
Well, I do, and I would. As Evan said, their run game sets up their whole offense, and we've talked about Jonathan Taylor, so it would be imperative for me to shut down that run game and make Wentz make plays, as Evan said, because as what did you point out, there were 9 turnover-worthy plays in the last couple of games, so. On Jonathan Taylor, what you were just talking about, he's got 24 carries of 10 yards or more and 9 over 20 yards. So he's busted off some, statistically. And after, he's number 2 to Derrick Henry in yards after contact, 579 yards after contact. So right now, I would stand that base defense and make Wentz. I trust our secondary. When you were talking about defense earlier, the one element of that defense, our current defense that I've watched Bill games for decades, this is the best pair of safeties tandems that I've seen in my experience and playing together. So I think that really, you got Trey White over there, that consolidates that third level of our defense. And let's make Wentz. Let's see if Wentz, if he can go back to his Philly days before he got hurt, when he was the promising budding superstar and lost his job, and Nick Foles got the Super Bowl. So, and ever since then, he's been on the roller coaster ride. So, yeah, I would go with the base defense. Let's stop that run first of all, and then make him pass. And let's see.
Evan, do you think we're going to see some base defense, or do you think Leslie Frazier attacks it with the nickel?
I think if you see base defense, it will cause Carson Wentz a lot of trouble. Okay. In all,
you're corny.
I know. How long I was sitting on that for the last 3 minutes. Honestly, I think you're going to see a lot of nickel defense for the sole purpose of the fact that Taron Johnson's just been so versatile matchup wise that they're just going to want to keep him in the game as much as they possibly can. Yeah, like honestly, you know, the only thing that really concerns me in regards to matchups per se would be probably the one when it comes to outside play. Because I think Pittman's a really good matchup on Trey White due to their height. So my best guess is that they're probably going to put a lot of safety help on White or on Pittman actually.
Pittman.
So yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if Pittman was running some crossing routes for Taryn to help out a little bit there too.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see. I think there'll be early downs. You might see it, but like you said, I think Leslie Frazier doesn't see much of a downgrade in the run defense with Taron Johnson on the field. We just need to make sure that these guys mind their gaps. I mean, we did a great job last year. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was 21 carries, 78 yards, and 1 touchdown. And like Herm, you said, under 100 yards this year, they're not winning the game. So, I mean, obviously that's got to be your focal point. When you have arguably the best secondary in the league, you gotta let them do their job. And you really got to get pressure with that front four. Let's turn the ball around a little bit. Let's bring the Bills on offense and the Colts on defense. Evan, I'll start with you. Do we believe that the Bills can bring the physicality when they're on offense? Because I think that is the key. Jacksonville, they were the more physical team, and it showed. Do you think with the lack of depth, or with the lack of a right tackle and guard play not being great, do you believe that the Bills are up for it on the physical end?
I don't have a lot of confidence, sadly. So I think they're probably going to have to stick with different kinds of ways in order to circumvent the fact that they're going to be in a weakness with this game. For this game, I'm going to maybe not predict, but what I would do is a lot of rollouts, because it's a very easy way to protect your line in regards to giving up pressure.
We haven't seen much of it at all. I'm so surprised.
Right. But Allen in particular is like fantastic when he's throwing.
He does it
on the run. So yeah, like this is one of those games where I think it would make sense to call more rollouts.
Yeah, and Allen manufactures those rollouts on his own, but he's just leaving the pocket, which I mean, I haven't seen the pocket move to the right side at all, and I don't understand that's not a wrinkle. Herm, do you believe that the Bills are gonna bring the physical play on offense specifically?
No, I'm in agreement with Evan there that I don't know if we have the personnel to physically challenge their defensive line. DeForest Buckner. Is Leonard was questionable? Is he playing?
He's
he's questionable, but
he's questionable.
He'll play.
But I mean, I'm to piggyback on what you guys said all along. I've been watching these games, and Josh, especially, my pet peeve in the red zone, and we don't, unless he's improvising, as you say, as Evan said, roll him out where you give him a flexibility, because he can always run. We know he's got that in his arsenal, but he throws so well on the run. He throws the ball really. In many instances, he makes better throws on the run. But also,
what I was just thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And
you're not thinking about it. You're just reacting.
Yeah, you're improvising right there, and he's very good at it. And his receivers they're in tune with him in terms of finding the open space or gap So I find that what Evan just said, I mean, to me, that would be a solution or to the problem, because if you just sit in that pocket, as we've seen with the offensive line play we've been getting on pass rush, he's almost like a sitting duck at times, and he's once he starts moving his feet, because you got a guy coming that way, and then then it becomes chaotic in there, and we haven't been completing plays. So yeah, I don't know about the phys. I don't know if we have the personnel to try and out physical them.
So just own the finesse style of play and run with it.
That's it.
Yeah. Don't be who you're not.
That's right.
I can agree. I mean, I was just like, it doesn't necessarily, when we think of physical play, we always think of, the 300-pound guys, right? But that doesn't mean the wide receivers can't be physical. When they're
No.
going in for a run block or they're separating from coverage. I just want the edge. Maybe not. I guess physical wasn't the word, but the edge. Just playing with that edge that you're better and and you're gonna win.
Yeah.
Before we get into the matchups, the Colts defense, second in the league in takeaways with 21, only second to the Bills. Evan, before we get into the question, they have a ton of injuries, specifically in the secondary. Both their safeties are out. Starting safeties are on injured reserve. Looking over their depth chart, they got guys on IR on all three levels. Although, like we mentioned, they're opportunistic. Do you think the Bills play it a little bit more safe, or are they going to let it rip as far as, taking chances?
I think by terms of taking chances, you have to take advantage of when Rhodes is going to be off the field, because he's still dealing with a little bit of an injury and he's going to be on a bit of a snap count. So I think whenever he's off the field, you have to make sure that you properly take advantage of those moments.
That said, hold on, let me interject real quick.
Yeah.
I was listening to he was a Colts podcaster, and they said Rhodes, although he has been injured, but even before them, he's not playing so well. So it's, regardless, I hear you there, but
regardless, I still think he's probably better than, their backup or playing their depth pieces, right? So,
but yeah, so you're in favor of being aggressive.
Yep, attack the backups.
Herm, what level of this defense you think we should attack, and you think we should be aggressive with?
Let it go. They've given up 23 passing touchdowns this year. That's secondary, and it's right now it's debilitated because of injuries. So even when they were playing at full strength, that was the weakest part of their defense, is the secondary. I think we've all agreed we're a predominantly passing team, and a very productive passing. We have a very productive passing game. That's what we do. So you're facing a team that's weakened at that third level. That even at when they were at their optimal strength, as I said, they've given up 23 touchdowns passing. So I think there's an opportunity we can throw the ball downfield. I'm letting it go. I'm with you there. Let it go.
I tend to agree. Be who you are. Do what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
That gets us into our matchups. What is a matchup specifically, whether it's a player or position group, Evan, that you're looking forward to monitoring in this game?
It was one I just recently brought up. It was the matchup of Michael Pittman against Tre'Davious White. Considering Pittman has like an absurd height advantage on him, I'm curious to see how the Bills will help him out in that regard, because White has shown that he can struggle against taller receivers. If I recall correctly, he didn't play very well in the playoffs against Pittman either. He had a few big catches in that game. Luckily,
luckily for 90. Yeah.
Luckily, the one catch he didn't make was a pretty important one in the end zone there.
Yeah,
but
I remember that one.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably the biggest one I'd say I'd like to watch.
Herm, what about you? What is the matchup you're looking forward to?
Well, Evan hit mine. It was the Pittman and Trey White, because you're right. Pittman had 5 catches for 90 in the playoff game. Which
Travis, thank you for letting me go first for this one.
Yeah,
because I always feel like it's the other way around, and I always end up
But I'm just going to go back to our defensive line against their offensive line. Okay, at the point of contact, and with our linebacker play, I think Milano is pretty healthy. He looked pretty good in that Jet game, coming back off the injury, so he's had a little bit more time to recover now. But their offensive line, which is outstanding. I mean, I think we all acknowledge that. So I think coming out of the gate, let's see how our defensive line and our linebackers, how we handle them, and because they're going to try and run the ball, that's their game. And then, that's mano to mano. So when you talk about some physical play, if we can stop it I think we win the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills' the right side of the offensive line versus the pass rush. I mean, sneakily, and we didn't really touch on it, but they got a pretty formidable rotation online. I mean, on their defensive line, Kwity Paye has been coming on, their first-round draft pick as of late. Obviously, DeForest Buckner may wreaked havoc in the last meeting against them. Grover Stewart's a great, he's a wall of a man, and Muhammad is a decent end too. And then they got a bunch of depth behind them. So I'm really curious to see if there's. I mean, like you said, it can't get any worse than what we saw protection wise than what we saw against the Jags. I don't necessarily need to see a great play, but I just need them to be able to, know their assignment and, hold on for dear life if needed. So I'm going to be
Right.
really looking forward to that right side and if they can hold up. Moving on to the stat of the game. Evan, I'll let you go first. Give me a stat line for this week's game.
Ooh, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that whoever plays by turn, whether in the linebacker spot, whether it's either Edmonds or Klein, they're going to have at least 10 tackles, and they're going to give up a touchdown, but they're also going to force a fumble.
Well,
I'm going to go something just
parlay right there.
Yeah.
yeah, really.
Parlay. All right, Herm, what's your stat of the game?
My stat of the game is hold Jonathan Taylor under 100 yards. So I'm going with the defense there to keep him under 100 yards. If the stats stay true to form, we win the game, right? When he's over 100,
That's
they
right.
win. When he's under 100, they lose. So that's my stat. If we 99 or less. Well,
granted, with most teams that does tend to be the case, because if you're running the ball a lot and getting a lot of running yards, it generally means that those teams are ahead already, right?
Yeah.
So
well, they've run the ball even when they I mean, because like when they ran for 260 on who was it a couple of weeks ago when they ran for 260 because they were behind a little bit, but they ran the ball. Yeah. So
they ran for a lot of the Jets as well.
Yeah,
exactly. And the kid, because we talk about Taylor, but Hines has also been a little productive. Hines shocked me.
He's great in the return game.
Yeah,
he's fast.
He's fast.
A lot of people say that they have the best backfield in the league. So.
Yeah, they're both sub 440. Got 4 foot, a 4.4, sprinters. So they can bust it.
One guy that we didn't bring up at all he's a part of my stat of the game, and that's going to be Dawson Knox. 80 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Okay. I like that.
That's bold. We're going to see him involved in the red zone.
Yeah, it's good to have him back.
It is. Moving on to key to victory for the offense. Evan, give me one key to the victory for the offense.
Score more points than the other team.
Very, very
profound,
clever.
Yeah. Okay. In all seriousness, I'm just nailing it with all these cheesy lines today.
Sure.
In all seriousness, it's basically just how they decide to incorporate different types of plays to handle the weakness of their line. They're going to have to, like I mentioned before, bootlegs and roll legs, bootlegs and rollouts. And gosh, I'm terrible today. A lot of bootlegs and rollouts. I'm hoping for quick passes, and then the off chance you get, some time. That's when you really got to let it go.
Very good. I like it. Herm, one key for victory for the offense.
Josh goes over 300 yards passing. I think we'll be okay. Since we want to turn it loose and throw the ball downfield, I was going to go a little bit overboard and say 400, but
Oof.
yeah, I think he's due for about a 400-yard game. It'd be nice to have that one. I mean,
The problem
Scott-
is when he's on, he's not playing in the fourth quarter because
yeah,
we're up
exactly,
by 40
right,
points.
right. So, but if I think if he can go over 300, well over 300, we have a great opportunity because that's what we want to do is throw the ball downfield, and we're playing a team that has problems in that particular area.
Yeah, I'll dovetail off of you. Score through the air, like you mentioned earlier. The Colts have allowed 23 passing touchdowns this season, most in the NFL. Both their safeties are on IR. They got banged up corners. Attack their weakness with our strength. I think it's obviously protect Josh Allen is the obvious one, but as far as what we can do to advance the ball, I think going through the air, like we've mentioned a lot on the show. All right, Evan, give me one key to victory for the defense.
Force Wentz to throw the ball down the field. And actually, scratch that. Force Wentz to throw the ball in the intermediate range. Take away the deep stuff because Wentz, surprised we failed to mention this, is the god of underthrowing deep passes to get pass interference penalties. And yeah, like if you can force them to make those intermediate throws instead of those deep throws and instead of those short throws, and if you can bottle up their run so that they have to pass, I think that's going to be a good. You'll have a good chance of winning if it gets to that point.
Yeah, we're probably all on the same page. But Herm, what's your key to victory for the defense?
Control their run game. I think I've hit that on the head a couple of times here tonight, but I think that's what they do best, and that's what we'd want to take away. I would want to take away if I were the coordinator, and I'm sure Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott are on that same page. Everybody knows right now what Taylor's leading the league in rushing. With Henry's probably going to win the rushing title unless something dramatic happens. I mean, Henry's done. So stop their run game. Stop that run game, and then by doing that, you're forcing Wentz into what we want him to do, is throw the ball and let's add to our leading takeaways.
Yep, I mean it's as simple as that. Make Wentz beat you. Make Wentz beat. Make him make mistakes. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's obvious. I don't know if it's easy, but make him beat you. Stop the run. All right, prediction time. How's it playing out, Evan?
I'm going to go 31-21 for Buffalo.
Herm?
30-17. I'm in that ballpark with you, Evan. 30-17.
I'm going to go 27-24.
The playoff game.
This is it. This is the one that on my schedule that I was not saying worried about, but concerned. I think it's going to be a close one because of obviously the matchup isn't the best for the Bills, and then the injury situation kind of exacerbates it. It's like our best run stuffer is out. Our weakest link is that right side of the line, and our right tackle's out. So, I think it'll be a little closer than I'd want. Fun fact, one of the installs I did today was with a big Bills fan. And, again, I'm working and I look down, I see a Bills helmet. And, I'm like, I'm a little worried about the Colts. He said, don't worry, they're blowing them out. So you heard it there. Damien, if you're out there, you shout out because you think we're going to blow them out. So let's wrap this up, and before we get out here, we'll get into everyone's favorite segment, and that is the 5-day forecast. Last week, Herm, you beat me again. You're firmly in control. You got 3 out of 5. I was a 2 for 5, and Evan, you're an NA, not applicable.
Yes,
forgot to get your ones. But all right, so Herm, we'll start with you. Allen's sacked 3 or more times.
Cloudy.
Evan?
let's say clear on that one.
Ooh.
3 or more. That's right on the sweet spot. I will say cloudy. It's gonna be close, but hopefully their game plan will course correct them in that area. Herm, you already answered this question, but I'll pose it to you. New lineman inserted into the starting lineup.
Oh, just a new lineman, or a specific?
Somebody. No, well, basically, is Cody Ford going to be playing or not? That's kind of where it falls.
Well, Bates could play.
Well, but I'm asking. You said
So I'm
you
asking.
thought
Wait,
when we
is it,
talked
so
about.
are we giving a name here, or is it just going to
No,
be
it's just
a new lineman? It's got to
if
be
Cody
a new
Ford
lineman.
starts at.
There's
Well,
got to be
no,
a new
but if
lineman because
Cody
Spencer Brown's not playing, right?
Herm, now you're just mincing words here. All right, a new combination that we have not seen yet. Meaning, if Ford is the right guard and Williams is the right tackle.
Right. All right, I understand that question now. Now that you've clarified, clear.
So you think there's going to be a new one? So you contradicted yourself.
Well, because I listened, and with Cody Ford not being, as you guys saying, you've got him shelved.
he's fell out of favor.
Yeah. You got him shelved. So I'm all right. So you see,
right,
I listened, and so I'm kind of.
There you go.
I took it in.
We're all.
Yeah.
You took it into consideration.
Yeah, and with good reason, definitely with good reason. So.
Listen, I'm right there with you.
I was trying to give him some redemption as a second round pick. You remember earlier I said, it's time to put up or shut up. But you're saying he's already they shut him up already.
Time to sit down.
Put up or sit down, and he's there. Okay.
What do you think, Evan?
I'm gonna say Ford, to begin the game, the line is nothing new.
Okay, so cloudy.
But I do think it'll change at some point during the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just starters.
Just starters, because I think during the game, Ford is going to turn into more of like a Prius probably, and then just.
No, he's a Pinto.
We're in a collision waiting to explode.
Yeah. All right. I think they're going to see. I think we're going to see a different lineman in there to start. Herm, the Bills commit less than 8 accepted penalties. We are one of the most penalized teams in the league, and the Colts are actually one of the least.
All right, I'm going to go
clear for that.
I'm going to go clear. I think.
Clear. What do you think, Evan?
After Jacksonville.
The only reason that's the case is because the refs are so biased and just want the Colts to win the game for big market reasons or whatever. So I'm going to say clear.
Yeah, I'm going to go with clear. I think 8 is that sweet number. We're just under 100. Herm, the game. Well, yeah, the game ends with a go-ahead field goal.
Cloudy.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that
cloudy.
Pertains in your situation. The way the game plays out in my head, I'm going to go clear. I think they win. They get that go ahead.
27-24.
It's like one of us picks the game like a 30-point win for the Bills, and then they're like, they also win on a last second field goal.
Yeah, the go ahead field goal in the middle of the first quarter.
Yeah.
Game winning field goal. That could be
finally.
True,
it could be. I got to get better with pithy. With my
it's like it's like in hockey how like if you score the go ahead goal, or like if it's tied at 0-0 and then it's like 1-1 and then you score to make it 2-1 and then it ends up being like 10-1. The
goal ahead
scores
is the 2, right?
The second goal. It's like a game winning goal. It's like why am I doing this?
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
The goal is good.
The snow game, in air quotes, is shown during the broadcast.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
They've been showing it this week.
Will the Music City Miracle be mentioned during the Titans game? Will it be mentioned that James Conner had cancer? Will it be mentioned that Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard? Yeah, this is clear as possible.
So the only way I think there's a slight difference is that it wasn't the most recent game. I mean, they'll probably have B-roll on both the playoff game and that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really turned into kind of like an iconic game.
I can tell you exactly how it's going to play. They're going to go, well, look at the weather here today, but it wasn't like this.
Yeah.
This is now they're going to say this is typical Buffalo weather, like the blizzard happens every day up there.
Yeah, right. I know.
Which coach
snows every day of the year, right?
Yeah, that's right. Wait, somebody told me yesterday. They go, well, Herm, you're from Buffalo. I go, yeah, it was snowing there last week. They go, it snows there in July. I said, come on, dude. Come on.
Which player coach was it this past offseason? Maybe there wasn't one because it does seem like there's one when it comes to a new player every single year where someone will post like a 5 or 10 second video and it's just them looking at like walking outside where they're staying in Buffalo and being like, the hell? And it's like all this snow. Yeah.
It's almost like Najee Harris wondering why they aren't going back on the field when overtime is over. There's always one fucking player that doesn't know the rules. Like, how the hell do you not know the rules?
When they're in that tie game, right?
Yeah. It happens every year. Every single year.
Yeah.
Thank you, Detroit, by the way.
But yeah. They're going to get one. They're going to get one.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's this week.
Yeah.
I'm rooting so hard for Dan Campbell and that, man. Like,
yeah, I appreciate they play hard, man. And there's bad teams that get blown out, but they just they just find a way to lose. It's sad.
66-yard
like
field goal.
they're one of those teams where I feel like if they went 0-17, they're still a team where I'd be like, keep the head coach. Like, don't uproot everything. Like,
that's actually impressive if that team goes 0-17. Well,
now it would be
16-1.
16-1, right. That's right. Yeah, they won't be
All
the first
fellas.
team. All right.
Before we get out of here, Herm, give me final thoughts, comments, what have you.
Well, after the Jacksonville debacle, I was happy to see us come back strong in that Jet game. I have to admit, as Evan said, when the score was 10-0 and it lagged there for a while after scoring 2 field goals, and of course we didn't finish the drive, as you know I like to say, Travis. And of course, I'm like, oh, here we go again. And then fortunately we just before half at 17-24, we put together some nice quick drives, which gave us a bit of a cushion and took us into the second half. And then we rolled from there. So I hope we can maintain that same momentum offensively. And I've said all along, you guys know that I feel we can outscore anybody in the league when our offense is humming. And I think it's time. Hopefully that got us back on track last week, and I'm looking forward to let's take care of Indianapolis and our beloved Frank Reich in Buffalo. We love Frank Reich in Buffalo, but not when he's bringing in the Colts.
That's right. Final thoughts, Evan?
Let's hope that when the Colts stop or play the Bills, it's just I want an enjoyable game for one. Not enjoyable by terms of like, I feel like this game could be like a competitive enjoyable because I feel like it's been a while since we've had one of those games. Well, I guess probably since the Titans game, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because like the Jaguars game was close, but even those games are terrible because it's like if the Bills win this game at like that point, it's like you still prove that maybe you're overrated, in that game.
I was thinking at halftime during that Jags game, I'm like, well, they're going to score some points, and I'm still going to be mad about them winning the game. And then it's like, oh shit.
Well, that's totally possible, right?
Because but you get the W. That's where I was at.
I'm going to be angry, but at least we got the win.
Get the W and we move on, but we didn't get it right.
Because in games like those, it's like if you win, you've proved nothing, but if you lose, you've proved a lot, right?
Yeah. The bubble was burst, in a lot of people's eyes, but we're back.
So I'm hoping for like a a more competitive game, because as much as I enjoy blowouts, I do like watching like just solid overall good football from time to time. So yeah, and I think it's very possible that happens this week.
Yeah, the matchup that we had in the playoffs, it was a good game. It was back and forth.
Yeah,
They really gave us all we could handle, and I think it's a solid matchup. And like I said, this was a game that I kind of had circled on the schedule for a while. But that being said, last week I ended the show with give Stefan the ball, and we willed that into existence. So to back up my stat of the game, let's give Dawson Knox the ball. Let's get him 80 yards and 2 touchdowns.
All right.
But that is all we have for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Again, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next week, go Bills.
go Bills.
Go Bills.